Morning, everyone. My name is Janine, and I'm the head of grade for the class of 2025. Before you knew me as your head of grade, I taught coordinated science to around 40 of you back in grade 9. Yes! There were no favorite classes during that time. But it was during this time when I first heard whispers of a student named Prakrit. Even once catching a glimpse of his curly hair, darting past my classroom, laughing his signature laugh. You all know this laugh. It's the one that helps him get away with anything. Since then, Prak has demonstrated time and again what it means to be a true UWCSEA student. Compassion and responsibility are threads that run through everything Prakrit does, whether it's showing up for his teammates during CSAC softball and football, or co-chairing his local service with empathy. He also has a natural ability to bring people together, and this was on full display during the 2024 end-of-year assembly, which he emceed, and then once again as the co-director for the student drama production, Boy Overboard. Prak's commitment to advocacy is part of who he is. And while his 7 years of MUN really helped to solidify his passion, it more importantly gave him the necessary skills to communicate how the grade was feeling about Project Week in a very simple yet impactful one-lined email to his buddy, Mr. Bachu. And if you ever needed proof of his integrity, let me tell you about the time he raced my 7-year-old daughter, Lennox. So while we were waiting for the taxi, Lennox caught a glimpse of Prakrit from the corner of her eye. And she didn't believe me when I told her that yes, he was really a grade 12 student. Because the reason's not what you think. Because in her mind, she knew everyone in grade 12. So what does she do? She challenges him to a race, sliding down the handrails bum first. Now, most of you probably would have just let her win because she is in grade 1. But not Prakrit. Oh no. He decided to use this moment as an opportunity to teach Lennox about sportsmanship and determination. And so with a giant smile on his face, he gave it his all, resulting in a resounding tie and one very happy little girl. Prakrit's optimism is contagious. It's actually the same joy and warmth in this auditorium today. So, to the class of 2025, take a moment, soak up this energy, breathe in the pride, the love, the shared memories in this room. And once again, congratulations. It's now my great honor to welcome your student speaker, Prakrit Anand.
Thank you, Miss Lee, for that endearing introduction. And please tell your daughter that I'd like a rematch because she definitely had a head start. Good morning, everyone. Parents, teachers, staff, and of course, the class of 2025. When Miss Lee first introduced this speech to me, she posed a question. What is the one thing you'll take away from your time at UWC? Now, I took that question very seriously. So, as any responsible student would, I went home, completely ignored Miss Lee, and watched my favorite sitcom, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. One episode, or maybe 5, into my binge, I realized why I loved the show. It wasn't just the jokes or the ridiculous cases they had to solve. It was the squad, the chaotic, dysfunctional, but deeply loyal family, and the way they always had each other's backs, whether it was during a Halloween heist or a completely unnecessary side quest. And all of this felt familiar, It reminded me of our epic water gun assault on the grade 11s, where we teamed up to corner helpless, unarmed juniors, ensuring they all went to block 1 drenched. It reminded me of the time where our favourite parent invigilators decided to serve us ice cream at the end of exams. It reminded me of the time where we all collectively got cooked by IB maths, so much so that we signed a petition so that the IB would lower the grade boundaries. So, to answer Miss Lee's question, what's the one thing I'll take away from my time at UWC? It's the community. The community, the close friends you've made for life, your Spanish teacher that you needlessly torture week after week, or even just the guy that always gives you a pencil when you need it in class. Everything and everyone that has made our past few years in high school feel like your favorite sitcom that you could watch again and again. Some of us have been at East for 14 years, and through these years, we've conquered life's biggest milestones together. In grade 3, we went on our first parentless overseas adventure to Riders Lodge. When middle school came around, we entered that awkward stage, but we also enjoyed a series of very unserious subjects, like life skills and seed, in which we spent more time on shell shock than paying attention in class. COVID then came in grade 7, and we were forced onto online school. I think we all remember that first day on Google Meet. It was a dream. School was cancelled, and we had the ability to mute our teachers when we no longer wanted to listen to them. But even in a bad situation, we made the most out of it. With the help of house party calls and scribble.io links, we thrived together. And in grade 11, even more scholars and boarders joined our community, finally completing the UWC puzzle. They came from across the world and helped transform the boarding house from just a place to... from a place to sleep into a home with a family. And beyond boarding, just by being themselves, they added vibrance, made our grade kinder, closer, and a whole lot more fun. But regardless of when you joined UWC, whether it's in kindergarten or last year, there are a couple of unique experiences that I guarantee nobody outside of the first 12 rows of this auditorium will be able to understand. The feeling of signing in to the nurse after you were suddenly overcome with a headache 10 minutes before your English cat. Telling yourself you're going to study during your free, but then spending 80 minutes doing everything but that on the second floor of the library. The chaos of a GYG group order on Veggie Wednesday, and then hounding your friend who still owes you $12 from last November. You know who you are. And nobody else knows Miss Dawson's opinions about certain male members of our community that she expressed in our final assembly. These unique experiences all have something in common. A location, 1 Tampines Street, 73. For us, this wasn't just a school. It was the set for our own TV shows in which we were the main characters. In the black box and auditorium, we put the arts on display with music shows like Wavelengths, and our very own Rabbit Foot, who I think we're going to have the privilege of hearing from for the last time in about 35 minutes. We also performed in plays and musicals, last year's musical, Once on This Island, and all the student-led productions like Equus, The Cape Letters, and Boy Overboard, whose directors... Yeah, I heard those directors were particularly handsome. And like every great TV show, there were some slightly chaotic backstage moments, like us in the conference rooms before Culturama and Kahani, where we did our semi-best at trying to not cause a ruckus for our favourite dance leaders. And, of course, we wrote our legacy into the pitch and sports halls where we train tirelessly to dominate at CSAC. And this year, we did just that, winning. We won 9 out of 22 CSAC championships, the highest tally in UWCSEA East history. Nine CSACs. I know Dover doesn't know what that feels like. But we can't go through graduation today without thanking the people who helped us get here today. On behalf of every graduating student, I'd like to genuinely extend our gratitude to our teachers. It's rare to find people who are so passionate about what they teach, who are willing to give up their personal time and stand with you side by side as you tackle every challenge you face, even if the struggle is as futile as understanding your TOK essay question. This is especially true for our mentors. I imagine it's difficult to motivate a usually half-empty room of teenagers at 8 in the morning, but thank you guys for always trying, and for being the people who remind us not to forget to smile, even amidst all the stress. And thank you to Miss Lee, who had to take over for Mr. Watson, as our head of grade 3 years ago. She came in as the bio teacher who supplied us with sugary lollipops so that we don't fall asleep at assemblies, and left being the literal second mother to all 281 of us. Thank you, Miss Lee. And thank you to Kai, the secretaries, and the rest of the leadership, Gemma, Kate, Ted, and my best buddy, Damien Bachu. Thank you. Thank you for persevering and putting up with us for 4 years and all of those shenanigans. I do hope you guys remember us fondly. And thank you to every member of our community. The team at Sodexo in Santai, the security, the nurses, the librarians, facilities, the cleaning aunties and uncles, and of course the UWC communications team. But there's one group of people who haven't been thanked yet. They make up the majority of today's audience and have been on this journey with us since we could barely walk. Our parents and house parents. Thank you for stocking the fridge with our favourite snacks and tolerating our exam-induced mood swings. Even when we claimed we had it all under control, your support was the safety net we never really wanted to admit we needed. So, for all the times we rolled our eyes at you before you finished your dinner time lectures, thank you for caring. And even though we sometimes didn't listen, you guys were usually right. But that's probably the last time you'll hear any of us say that. So now, it might seem like we're leaving this world, leaving everything we know and heading into the scary world of adulthood, where Mr. Sweeting's PSE slideshows come to life. We're off to universities, military service, and beyond. And to be honest, the future's a scary place. There is no certainty. No one to remind you to complete CAS reflections, and worst of all, no 48-hour grace period. So, what are we supposed to do? Submit things on time? Nah, don't be silly. The honest answer is, I don't think any of us know, and that's okay. Despite all the unknowns, there is one thing that will tie the 281 of us together. And no, it's not the intimate web of connections that we saw on that board during prank day. It's a philosophy. The idea that we dedicate our lives to the service of others, not out of compulsion, but out of compassion. to live with purpose, guided by empathy and a shared desire to leave this world in a better shape than we found it. If there's anything a UWC education has given us, it's the belief that our actions, no matter how small, can spark something far greater than we could have ever imagined. So now we enter the final hour of our high school journey. The final hour where we can earn ourselves a VLP. But I think it's important to remember that we don't enter this world alone. In fact, I think we're a part of a lucky few who will never be alone. Because if you look to the row in front of you, to the people behind you, to everybody sitting on your left and right, you'll see people who you can count on forever. Because our bond as the UWC East class of 2025 is unbreakable. Thank you.